Our last speaker this morning is Ms. Ling DeBellis.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ling DeBellis, and I'm here today to share with you my story and my journey in life so far. Many of you have heard my story before, and some of you have even lived it with me. But today, I'd really like to rewind and reflect on what makes us who we are and how we can use our stories to better understand ourselves as well as the people around us. We'll start at the very, very beginning. I was born in southern China, in the lush green tea region of Guiping. You'll notice how close this is to Vietnam, and genetically speaking, I am actually more Vietnamese than I am Chinese. While my biological parents are unknown, we do know that I was abandoned on the street and found by a police officer at about 2 weeks of age. There, I was transferred to a local orphanage in Guiping, and Chinese medical records say that I nearly starved to death and I simultaneously fell ill with pneumonia or a polio-like disease. Unconscious and in a coma for at least 3 days, I dropped from 4 pounds to 3 pounds at about 3 weeks of age. It's suspected that for the first few weeks of my life, the only food I was given was sugar water. Simply put, my brain and my body were shutting down. I was likely one of 100 abandoned children at that local orphanage, and I likely wouldn't have survived if someone hadn't sent me to a hospital in Nanning. To this day, I don't know who this person was, and I don't think I ever will, but I can only hope, I can only imagine that this person loved me. Whoever it was, a caretaker or a nanny, I think they must have seen some kind of resilience in my eyes. In Nanning, I got better. I survived. Within a few months, I was given to a foster family and put up for adoption. And across a big ocean in chilly St. Paul, Minnesota, a young couple was looking to start a family. There is an old Chinese folklore that says an invisible red thread connects us to everyone we meet, and that it can twist and tangle, but it will never break. And so, these soon-to-be parents traveled long and far, following that invisible red thread to their meant-to-be daughter. While I was too young to remember my early life in China, the transition was traumatic and overwhelming. I was leading the only life I had ever known, but as you can see, I quickly adapted to American culture. Flash forward to today, I am healthy and I am thriving. I'm having the time of my life with the last days of senior year and college just around the corner. But in the end though, I don't know if my body will change, whether my neuromuscular condition will get better, get worse, or stay the same. I don't know what adventures I'll have at Rice University next year. I don't know what classes I'll take or the people I'll meet, but I am sure of a few things. First, my heritage is an intricate piece of my identity and my story. Deep within those adoption records, I found a copy of a letter my mother wrote to my foster parents, asking them to document in any way they could my time with them. These here are some of the lovely photographs they took in response. I didn't know these photos existed until a few months ago, but even now, looking at them today, they have an inexplicable yet spiritual meaning that remains beyond words. They are fragments of a time I may not be able to remember, but they are forever a part of who I am and who I will become. Perhaps in a way, I am the daughter of many different kinds of love. There are my birth parents who gave me my name and my genetic heritage. This was all they could do. There was the foster care person at the orphanage who sent me to Nanning and saved my life. There are my foster parents who for a year took me in as one of their own and loved me like any family would. And of course, there's Bob and Faye, who all I can say now is that they were meant to be. Over the years, I've learned 2 very important things. First, that a spray of Windex can cure just about anything. And second, that strong women raise strong daughters. I don't think I have the words to adequately thank my mama and papa, but you must know that you are the center of the village that raised me, and you always will be. As much as I'd like to say my arrival in the US marked an end to a hard start to life, it unfortunately was not. By the age of 3 years old, my physical development was significantly behind normal, My peers were running and jumping on the playground, while all I could do was walk, barely, with holding on to someone's hand. My parents took me to Gillette Children's in St. Paul, and there I met Dr. Stephen Addison Smith, a neuropathologist who would become one of the most influential people of my life. Initially, Dr. Smith believed I had SMA, or spinal muscular atrophy. He told my parents, quote, "I cannot buffalo you. This is very grave." At that young of an age, an SMA diagnosis is typically fatal. But through years of testing, we know today that my condition is not SMA, nor is it at all believed to be genetically related. Instead, it is likely severe nerve damage left over from the near-death experience I suffered while in China. Dr. Smith passed away suddenly, only just last winter. His years of experience pioneered neuromuscular research, and he always did so with an open heart and a big smile. For this reason, I'd like to dedicate my speech in his memory and his honor, because in many ways, I think I'll miss Dr. Smith forever. The last thing I'm sure of is that my identity is still growing. I'm still learning to find my voice and my place in this world of ours. And I have many people to thank for shaping and molding my identity. Throughout my 14 years here at MPA, I am most grateful to Lorraine Anderson, Christine Peterson, and Nancy Greeley. These three women have encouraged me to be myself, to follow my curiosities, instilling a sense of courage that I may not have gained without them. My journey within these walls is soon coming to an end, and I know there are things here I know I will really miss. But I've come to terms and realized that it is too easy to get lost in old memories. I have learned to embrace the future and whatever it may hold. Recently, I was writing an essay for physics, and I became enamored by the beauty of the unknown. As a young scientist at heart, the idea that many of our discoveries are made in the unknown drives me. We must learn to accept the possibilities of what we don't know and face inexplicable questions without fear. To say, "I don't know," is so foundationally human, and many of our discoveries are not just scientific, but an echo of who we are and where we're going. My story itself is a complexity of both science and humanity. There are many things about my past that will remain unanswered, but maybe someday, some of these will get answered. From the infinite vastness of space to the microscopic base pairs of our DNA, I can only hope that these questions will compel me to keep asking the why and the how, and to keep dreaming the impossible. You see, my existence, the very fact that I'm standing here right now this morning, is seemingly impossible. Like I said, my biology and my story will forever be a mystery, but I never let these things get me down, because instead I see them as a kind of light, a source of energy, one that says if I'm alive and living now, then anything, and I mean anything, in this universe is possible. In the end, my message here today is to ask you to find the resilience in other people's eyes and to never let those sparks die out. Be the person, the caretaker, that saved my life and sent me to Nanning. Be the one who cares for others, whether it's someone you love or someone you just met. My message is for you to keep asking the unanswerable questions and to search for these potential answers, not in the details and the tangibles, but within ourselves and within the people around us. That little girl in China didn't know that one day she'd have a happy family, or that she'd go to school with the best group of nerds, or most of all, that she'd go to school in Houston, Texas. These are the things she could only dream of. These are the things that kept me alive. I was one of the lucky ones. I survived. I don't know who I'd be, or even if I'd be here without all of you. You filled me with love, and you filled me with hope. You gave me the opportunity to thrive, and you never gave up. To everyone in the audience today, and to so many more who couldn't be here right now, you are the village that raised me. I'm proud of how far I've come, and I'm excited to see where I'm going next. Know that I will never forget these moments with you. You must know that you saved a child and raised a young woman who has big dreams and aspirations. You must know that you guided her on a path and told her that she could make a difference in this universe of ours. And you must know that this is the most human and most enduring gift that you could ever give. So with that, from the deepest and most sincere part of my heart, I give my greatest thanks, for you have given me not just a home and a place to live, but you have given me the wings in which to fly and to change the world. Thank you.